What's on show at this weekend's PAX Australia Gaming Conference?
And which old favourites are coming to the retro gaming section?
Vertical Hold is proudly brought to you by Alcatel. Welcome to Vertical Hold, the tech show where we channel surf through the headlines in search of the big picture. I'm Adam Turner and I'm joined for the 100th time by a man who's always wanted to make 100 in the backyard at Mum's, Alex Kidman. This week at great expense to the management, we're joined by two special guests for our 100th episode to talk all things PAX. First up, we've got 2SER breakfast presenter and tech journo Nic Healey. Nic, thanks for joining us.
A pleasure.
Plus, we're joined by ausretrogamer editor Alex Boz, who's looking after the classic gaming section at PAX. Alex, welcome to the show.
G'day guys, thanks for having me on.
Mr. Kidman, what's new in tech?
Optus has expanded its data-free streaming deal for eligible mobile customers to include Stan and ABC iView. The deal is much the same as before. It's standard definition mobile streaming only, and if you don't qualify as part of your plan, you can pay an extra $10 a month to do so. At the same time, Optus has also added cricket to its Optus Sports package, alongside its existing EPL coverage.
Vodafone has expanded its $5 per day international roaming deal, now adding Canada, Samoa, Papua New Guinea, Tonga, Vanuatu and Solomon Islands. Meanwhile, the telco continues its war of words with Telstra over network roaming within Australia, with Telstra determined to block efforts to force it to share its mobile network in regional areas.
Not content with electric cars and power packs, Tesla's latest innovations are solar roof tiles, which do pretty much exactly what you'd expect them to do. Power a Tesla Powerwall to provide energy to your house and preferably your Tesla electric vehicle. The plan is that these all-glass tiles will be tougher than existing tile materials, but they're not expected to go on sale until at least next year, with pricing still to be determined.
Microsoft's Minecraft Education Edition is finally out of beta, granting teachers access to extra tools, making it easier to manage a busy classroom within a Minecraft world. Education Edition also makes it easier to manage a classroom of Minecraft accounts, although Microsoft charges $5 per student per year, and access to Education Edition also requires an Office 365 education license.
So Adam, there's another version of Minecraft, the Education Edition. What's the idea here?
Well, basically, if you know your way around Minecraft, you know that you can get into basically the console, the command line behind the scenes, and you can do things like move people around and give them resources and stuff like that. And it's great if you're trying to be like, the dungeon master of your little Minecraft world. If you're a teacher and you're trying to do this with 30 kids in the class, I can imagine you're going to spend more time doing that than paying attention to what's going on. So part of what Education Edition does is it puts a nice front end on it to make it easier for teachers to manage, to move people around, to give them resources, to chat to them within the world. There's a couple of extra things as well, like a camera and stuff like that. And it's basically just designed to make it easier for the teacher to manage what's going on. Now, I don't know about you guys, they didn't have anything like this when I was at school. Mr. Boz, you're an old school gamer. Do you think there's a place for Minecraft in the classroom?
Absolutely. I have to actually state that I'm not a big Minecraft person, but from looking at family members playing, and they absolutely love it. So absolutely, there's a place for it.
Dr. Nic?
Yeah, look, I'm with Mr. Boz. I'm not a huge Minecraft fan myself, but I learnt so much from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and that was pretty simple. I think it's fantastic that we've got something so much more inventive and so much more based in the imagination for kids to have a go at now.
Yeah, I think that Minecraft fits in there really well because it's kind of like a Lego set or a sandpit or something like that. It's not just a game, it's an environment and the kids can make it be whatever they want to be. Mr. Kidman, you've got a couple of kids at school. What do you think? Minecraft in the classroom?
Look, I think it's an excellent tool because, as you said, it's so particularly flexible, and there's already a lot of studies into its use, not just in regular classrooms, but in classrooms for kids with disabilities. So it's got it seems to have a special attachment for autistic kids, for example, because it gives them a safe space that they can express themselves in ways that they may not be comfortable in doing within kind of classic interpersonal communications, that kind of thing. You can actually hit some really interesting syllabus objectives for the way that teaching is meant to work through Minecraft, beyond the simple kind of, oh, well, it's a game, does that belong in the classroom? So, no, I think this is really quite smart. And, of course, it's smart on Microsoft's part because they want to maintain that connection to the classroom in multiple ways. And Minecraft, of course, is always going to appeal to a classroom full of kids more than, hey, kids, let's do some maths.
So, gentlemen, PAX is upon us once more. I hear it's the biggest gaming event in the Southern Hemisphere, and I know that our two guests are both heading there this week. Nick, what sort of grabs your fancy at PAX? What are you keen to see?
Every year I've been blown away by the quality of the indie games, the independent studios and what they're producing. It started off as what we kind of nicknamed Indie Alley. It's the indie kind of games area. It's got bigger and bigger every year, and I cannot wait to see what some of them are doing, and maybe some of the games that I've seen a year or two earlier, where they've come through to. A lot of these people, they're passion projects for them. It's just incredible to see what people can actually make.
And the fact that they're now on the world stage as well, it gives a chance for Australian developers to be rubbing shoulders with these big global powerhouses in software development is pretty amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. And look, a lot of the democratization of some of the distribution methods has been very important to that. But some of it's just people enjoying great indie games. It's no longer the kind of AAA world that it was. People can have a lot of fun with these titles, and they want them.
Yeah. Mr. Boz, you're a man who's in charge of the retro gaming section. I would assume you occasionally tear yourself away from Donkey Kong. What are you looking forward to seeing at the show?
Exactly like Nick, the indie, definitely. I love going there and just interacting with the guys and looking at what they've actually got and the passion in their eyes. I love it. Yeah, that is what I'm looking forward to the most, to be honest.
So what do you reckon we're going to see, Alex? A VR, I would assume, is going to be a big thing. What else do you reckon will be the big themes at PAX?
Well, VR's a kind of an interesting space, and I love the fact that PAX, like everyone else here, basically, that PAX does a lot of highlighting of independent games producers, but undoubtedly there will be a fairly heavy amount of hype around this year's big AAA titles as well. I guess the interesting thing on the VR side, of course, is that now it's actually out there. There's this kind of pressure to present stuff that's new and interesting in that space. I've spent most of the past week playing around with a PlayStation VR, and for the money, it's okay, but it feels to me almost in a retro kind of gaming way, almost as if it's like 1978, and people are just starting to get this idea of, hey, we could do this thing with games, because so much of what's out there, you get this lovely kind of initial immersion thing happening, but nobody has really clicked into that game that someone is going to lose themselves in, that kind of Star Trek holodeck kind of thing where you're just going to put the headset on and forget about eating for 3 or 4 days. Now, maybe that has some downsides, but, nobody's clicked that yet. So far, what we're getting are very, very simple experiences, and especially in the case of PlayStation VR, because the move tracking's a bit wobbly. They can sometimes be frustrating experiences and sometimes very short ones as well. Obviously, this is not an issue for some of the bigger AAA titles, which I imagine will still get, fairly healthy audiences as well.
If I may, I'm actually, and I don't mean to pitch it too hard, I'm actually hosting a panel at 3 p.m. on Friday about VR with a bunch of VR devs, not necessarily AAA ones, people who are working on the fringes of it. And what I want to talk about, it's a very big deal to me, is where are the VR games, not the VR experiences. I think Alex, Mr. Kidman rather, right on the money. I saw it at E3. You'd pull the headset off after maybe 5 minutes, sweat still fogging you up, still a bit discombobulated, a bit confused. Where are the games? Where's my VR Skyrim that I can lose 120 hours in?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It's time for VR to put up or shut up, I think. Especially, well, people in our position, the four of us, we kind of see things that are new and interesting. We've been looking at VR for a few years now. We've seen all the major platforms. We've seen all their demos. They've sort of wowed everybody like that. It's like, what are you going to do next? You can only throw demos at us for so long, and it's going to be the next 6 or 12 months that kind of makes or breaks its mainstream success. And they've got to put their money where their mouth is and come up with a few big titles like that.
So part of PAX is obviously the games, but it's also a big cultural event. There's the whole community behind the games as well. It's a very big part of it, isn't it, Nick?
It's a massive part of it. It's quite a fascinating one. It's very much not a journo-driven convention or conference or however you want to look at it. It's in no way like an E3. It's about the participants. And I've got to say, until the first one happened, I had never understood cosplay. It just made no sense to me. And gosh, I got it after the first PAX. Not enough to want to do it. I think, in your 40s, I might leave it there. But just watching the people, the effort they put in, the excitement they had when they saw other people in outfits they recognised or similar outfits or even the same outfit, it was actually really lovely. People screaming at each other, clearly not knowing each other, but screaming with joy at the sight of each other from across a crowded room, running towards each other. I absolutely loved it. And the other thing that I love at PAX is the board game section. Bigger and better than ever. Cardboard children alive and well. It's fantastic.
I looked at the map and the board game section is huge. It's almost as big as the main section.
Oh, yeah. It just gets bigger every year. I think we're in the golden renaissance of board games at the moment.
Everyone's recovered from Monopoly and is now prepared to play board games again, age.
They're now prepared to play proper board games.
Yeah. So, Mr. Boz, obviously there's a bit of a retro feel in the cosplay as well. What have you seen in the last couple of years? What do you reckon you'll see?
I'm hoping to see some more Mario and Luigi's. We always seem to see them every year.
It's usually a classic.
Either zombified or in a traditional sense. But look, funny you should mention the tabletop area. We actually had to make way for tabletop to be brought from the back of the hall to the actual front. So looking forward to actually seeing a lot of people there, because it is always a lot of people hanging around and watching others play, and actually love seeing people trying something new. That is the best part of PAX.
That's one of the things I noticed about the board table area is it's a very much not just a little stand and here's our game, but sit down and play through and see what it's all about. And that's the kind of thing that you can't do in a shop.
Yeah, look, definitely. I think the encouragement for people to just get involved at PAX is the really big deal. I mean, you will see certain big booths where it's like, please sit quietly, please watch our demo. But for the most part, it's about mucking in and just having a bit of fun and really getting into it. Yeah, sleeves rolled up, elbows in. It's amazing.
So I spent a bit of time at the retro section last year. I will admit that, the highlight for me was getting a bit of... clocking up a bit of time on the original Donkey Kong machine, showing my age there. I would assume, Mr. Boz, you see the same thing there, that it's not just people standing there looking at consoles behind glass, but they can actually really get in there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hands-on, so you can come and actually play Donkey Kong, from 30 years ago. There's going to be 10 arcade machines. There's going to be 10 pinball machines, 20 plus consoles, computers, and introducing this year, we've actually got display cabinets showing off the more rare and exotic items. I won't give away too much, but I do have something special from Mal Croucher and Matt Smith from the ZX Spectrum days, and Mr. Jeff Crammond and David Brabham as well from Elite. So that will be, looking forward to that. So I just hope that those cabinets are secure, because these are very, very rare and one-off items.
So of the stuff that the games you've got running on the consoles and on the arcades, what are the highlights for you?
Look, I always gravitate to the stuff that I grew up with. So the Commodore 64, River Raid, the Amiga stuff, any shoot 'em up on those systems. But we're going to have PS1 and PS2 now is considered old enough to be in the section as well. We've got an MSX computer, so I don't know what's going to run on that, but that will be a surprise as well for me. There's going to be Super Nintendo and obviously Nintendo 64 with Mario Kart 64 or GoldenEye is a massive hit every year. And look, part of the tournament section.
That refuses to age.
Absolutely. And look, we always think, we want to put something else on, but no, the attendees just love flocking to it and just playing it. So we just leave it there all day, every day, and it gets a lot of play, and that's the best part. We see all systems, people trying them, and the best part is seeing parents that are being dragged by their kids to PAX, and then when they actually come to the retro area, you see the parents' eyes just light up and go, that's what we grew up with, and the kids are genuinely keen to find out what their parents actually played on, and they see carts or they see tapes, and it's like, what? You actually load games off tapes? That's just crazy. So yeah, look, it's a very, very inclusive area. I love seeing people just come in of all ages, and people just having a crack either on pinball, arcade, or any of the systems that are there, and also taking part of the tournaments that we're going to have on pretty much each day. So yeah, come along, and you can definitely have another crack at Donkey Kong, Adam.
Mr. Boz, do you have an N-Gage section over there? Because I've definitely got one still in the box that you could be borrowing if you needed to.
The handheld section is run by Weird and Retro, and I think there may be an N-Gage present.
I'm sure it wasn't hard to track one down.
I think we said games, Nick, though, strictly speaking.
Ooh, nasty. All right. Okay, we're there.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say some of the main highlights for the arcade tournaments. We've got Point Blank this year, so that's going to be interesting. As I said, Donkey Kong as well. There's going to be a Puzzle Bubble High Score Challenge on the arcade machines as well, and River Raid High Score on the Commodore 64. We're going to have Saturn Bomberman 8-player. That should be an interesting one. Yeah. Crash Team Racing as well, head-to-head. And obviously the big ones are the pinball comps that are going to be on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. They always get massive amount of people coming in, and they run for hours and hours and hours. So looking forward to seeing people putting up some decent scores, or just having a shot, having a crack.
So who do I have to bribe to get a Bubble tournament going? Because it's the one thing you haven't mentioned, and obviously it should be there.
Reason being is that we always actually choose the games that won't take too long to play. We know a lot of people that have played Bubble Bowl and they can actually play it for a long time.
Weeks. It's a fair call.
And
it's totally fair call.
So we basically put on the tougher games where we know people won't be playing for longer than a few minutes. So and that way we give every participant an opportunity to actually partake in the comps.
And I've got to say, I love the fact that it's inclusive. I'm notably and as is fairly well known, a very passionate retro gamer, but it's the gamer side of that really appeals to me. I'm sad that I can't be there this year. I will get there one year, I swear. But seeing rarities and oddities is fun for a few seconds, but actually playing classic games can just draw you in for years, or in my case, a lifetime.
Absolutely. Look, we at the first PAX in 2013, we had really exotic systems, and we found that people really didn't gravitate to those. They kept on going to Sega, Nintendo, Amiga to a certain extent. But so over the years, we've refined that, and it's always Atari, Sega, Nintendo are always up front, and so that's why we're going to have the more rarer stuff in the actual display cabinets where people can just have a look, and they unfortunately won't be able to touch or play. But so it's just all from experience.
Is your Point Blank machine the arcade or the PlayStation version?
Arcade. The PlayStation version we've ran for the last 2 years, and that was just phenomenal. People just lining up, waiting for turns. But this year it's going to be on the actual arcade machine.
Awesome, very nice. And of course, those light gun games of that era, of course, have that challenge for modern players, because unless you're actually running them through a CRT, they of course don't tend to work.
That is the biggest challenge, sourcing the TVs. Each of the groups that basically provide their kit in the classic gaming area, that's Weird and Retro and Retro Domination, it's always hard to source CRT TVs. PAX do have a few. So look, the newer consoles that have got composite will probably run on LCDs if we run out of CRTs, but the older stuff definitely on the old square tubes.
They're getting tougher to find year by year, but it's an awesome effort, and it's something that I think anyone attending PAX should well and truly be looking forward to, even if they do have to walk past the board games, enjoying them on the way to get there. Well, that just about wraps up this very special 100th episode of Vertical Hold. Remember, if you've got any comments, hit us up in the comment section on YouTube, via Twitter, or the Facebook Vertical Hold page. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me back.
And Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening, and remember, if you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Vertical Hold is proudly brought to you by Alcatel. Well, that just about wraps it up for this episode of Vertical Hold. Remember, if you've got any comments, hit it up. I'm just reading Alex's bit.
I was just going to say that this is usually what I say.
Sorry.
I was waiting to come in and do my impression of you.